Very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivo Jebela, your host. Tonight on the show, we are joined, or rather welcoming back, William Minnie, who is now the Deputy National Spokesperson of the Landless People's Movement. The party held a press conference today to express itself on two main issues, and William is here to help us expand on those pronouncements. Thank you very much, sir, for making time. Welcome back to the platform.
Good evening, Toivo. How are you? Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, so let's start with the first issue that you guys discussed at your press conference. You were talking about the overreach of the new Minister of Urban and Rural Development, Honorable James Sankwasa. What overreach?
Well, Toivo, look, we've been seeing and we've been watching and we've been hearing, of course. And about 10 days ago on the show Business Today, Minister Sankwasa was, of course, trying to explain what his functions and what his powers actually entail constitutionally, as well as in the statutory provisions, the Local Authorities Act number 23, as well as the Regional Councils Act. And of course, one listens and, you know, some things don't make sense, to be honest. And if one looks at it, I do believe that the Honorable Minister is a little bit constitutionally illiterate.
Yeah.
Because there's absolutely no way that we are going to sit idly and watch the Minister of Urban and Rural Development once again, another one, again, misinterpret the Constitution as well as the statutory provisions to in some way fit his or her narrative and his or her perception. So there's absolutely no way that we're going to do that. And he relied on Articles 40 and 41 of the Namibian Constitution, which basically just speaks of the normal and ordinary regular functions of a minister, regardless of portfolio. And what I found a little bit misleading is the minister's interpretation of Section 92 of the Local Authorities Act of 1995. So one looks at it and you listen, if you listen very carefully, his interpretation of Section 92 is that he, as Minister of Urban and Rural Development, has the authority to unilaterally remove councillors or to dissolve an entire council if he decides that they have not satisfied according to the Local Authorities Act. But his interpretation is flawed, because if you listen to what he says, you would see that the Honorable Minister believes that if it is up to him, if it is not satisfactory to him as the line minister, then he can dissolve a council. But that is not true. Because, of course, there's absolutely no way that can be done in any circumstance. So because of that, we thought it would be necessary to discipline the Honorable Minister once again, and also just to inform him and teach him a little bit about the legal frameworks that govern local authorities. Because one needs to, of course, the Auditor General has to do a report. It has to be investigated. A report has to be done if the minister sees that, or sees it fit that the council is not doing satisfactory work, not complying with the act. Then, of course, an investigation has to be done, and then a report has to be done, and you have to give these councillors, the entire council or a particular individual within council, which is a councillor, to explain themselves. You have to provide them with the opportunity to explain themselves, and a report has to be conducted by the Auditor General. And only then, if the findings do show that this particular council and these particular councillors have not indeed met the required standard of the Local Authorities Act, then the minister, after, of course, a recommendation from the Auditor General, can then take action. So that explains to us, within that particular statutory provision and within the legal framework, that there's absolutely no way that the minister can wake up on a Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. and decide, I am going to dissolve the City of Windhoek Municipal Council. Not in any way.
I hear you, William. I've watched bits and pieces of the minister's interview on NBC, and I know I didn't watch the whole of it. I must admit, but the bits that I watched were in reference to the Umthia situation, where this one councillor only of that local authority that he is trying to recall. It doesn't speak to dissolving the entire council. Is that still your understanding, or was it, because what is your view in the context of what you're saying about what he's trying to do with that particular councillor?
In the instance of the particular councillor, look, the same principle applies. The same principle applies.
I don't think so.
No, the same principle applies.
No.
You have to do procedural fairness.
No, procedural fairness I understand, but I'm saying you don't need things from the
The Auditor General.
Auditor General to
Then
recall.
based on what does the minister then decide that he's going to remove the particular councillor? What are his findings?
No, because there's a provision, I'll show you later, it's on my phone. There's a provision that talks about councillors having to be
residents
of those towns, and that it's almost automatic that once you quit being a resident, then you are no longer a councillor. How is the minister wrong in that sense?
Look, what we're saying is, Joyce, fundamentally, if the councillor is no longer a resident, right, of Umuthia, okay, it must be proven. Because if you skip the steps of investigating the residency of that person, then you have skipped procedural fairness.
So when you work full-time...
So do the investigation, let the report's findings say that this person primarily lives in the city of Windhoek.
So when you work as a full-time CEO of a corporate entity in Windhoek, what more evidence do you need there?
Oh, we need the evidence, colleagues. What we're saying is the procedural fairness still needs to take place.
Yeah, so...
Because it is not, look, the minister is not wrong. No, the minister is not wrong for pointing that out. It is an irregularity. That is an irregularity. But what we're saying also is, in the political sphere, what we're saying is the minister must follow procedural fairness.
Yeah.
An investigation has to be done and the report must show, because what we must remember is, Trevor, this person was not picked up from the street and then placed into council. This person was voted for. And at the end of the day, you owe that procedural fairness and the process of natural justice, you owe it to the electorate. That is what you owe them. But in other cases, there was a workshop.
Yeah.
I believe it was last month. There was a workshop.
Yeah.
And under the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development. And of course, our councillors reported back. And the minister is of the view, according to our councillors who attended this workshop, that opposition-led councils are failing. And there is absolutely no way that as the Landless People's Movement that we're going to sit idly and allow the minister, who is also just an appointee, to disrespect elected councillors.
Yeah.
You cannot say that we are failing, and now we see that the audit report came out, and we saw the sensationalist headline from the Namibian newspaper saying that Keetmanshoop municipality books bleed 77 million in 3 years.
Yeah, hold that thought for me, William. I will definitely discuss that with you in a moment. But I still want to just say to you, look, I agree. I had on my show on Sunday, I had Dr. John Nakuta,
I saw.
who said something similar to what you're saying. Him is not talking about the investigations and whatnot. He talks about administrative justice, where just because the law is on your side, you don't just pull the plug. He felt that this Umthia councillor should have been called and engaged.
I agree.
And then you can, once you have engaged the man, you can then say, look, therefore my decision is this. And that didn't seem to have happened. But I just want to tell you the section 13, 1H, I don't know how to read these things in law, but of the Local Authorities Act of 1992. It says, a member of a local authority council shall vacate his or her office if he or she ceases to reside or to reside or temporarily reside within the local authority area after being elected as a member of such a local authority council. In other words, if I am the mayor of Otapi, where I come from, and I become a seaman at Ludrets, where I go for 3 weeks, or I work in the mines at Oraniemund, I cannot. Why do we? I mean, because I thought we have a minister now who seems to say, look, this is what the law says, scaife, as you would say. But now we are saying, no, the man who is now fighting to implement the law is overreach.
But it is. Because look, Toys, we are not disagreeing, right? We are not disagreeing. Where we agree is that this particular councillor, right, does not reside in Umuthia.
Yes.
And it is totally incorrect for that person to still serve in council. There we agree. You must understand that we agree. Yeah. However, my biggest problem is the lack of procedural fairness. You must follow certain processes. Yeah. Because if you don't follow certain processes, I remember a few years ago, it must have been 8 or so years ago, even political parties can no longer simply recall councillors. And we saw that for the first time when Esther Ngidimbwa from Enana, I think, no, not Enana, Oshikango, when she challenged, when she was recalled by the SWAPO party, and she challenged it in court. Yeah. So that is the one thing that we must remember. You cannot simply just act because the law is on your side. Yeah. There must be, you have to provide this person with the opportunity to come and explain. And if the findings do prove that you no longer reside in Umuthia, then the minister can then take action. Because in the absence of that, then that means that the minister simply is jumping the law. Yeah. Is it not?
Yeah. No, I
because if
that is your argument, William, if that is your argument, then we are aligned.
We are aligned, my brother. I don't know where you're falling out. We are aligned.
No, you just because I read your statement. It spoke about a lot of things, but I think that local authority councils in our country are in real trouble. People there run these institutions as if they were their personal ones, and we have a minister now who, of course, maybe that is what you guys are doing, whipping him into line to say, yes, go on, but this is the path to do it. If that is a strategy, I have no problem. But what I have seen since Sankwasa started doing these things is a pushback. Everybody accusing him of all things under the sun, as if to say the status quo must remain, and that simply cannot continue.
No one said that the status quo must remain. What you must remember is that the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, MURD, is a key ministry, right? And his biggest problem, I believe, his understanding of the law is quite superficial, firstly. Secondly, through the way that he speaks, the language he uses, as well as his approach, is removing local authorities and regional councils, which are also part of government, removing it from central government and acting as if it's a separate entity. That cannot be the case, because what he's currently doing is it's government fighting government. It is an extension. The regional councils and the local authorities are extensions of government.
Is LPM scared in the south that
scared of what?
That Sankwasa is coming?
For what? He can come.
Because he said there's a lot of local authorities under the opposition that are actually in a big mess.
Is it only local authorities under opposition? Why are opposition-led councils being targeted?
No, he targeted already. Katima is fully under SWAPO. Mthia is fully under SWAPO. Not fully, but they are all under SWAPO's majority leadership. So he has already dealt with his party. But he says there's equally or even a worse mess in opposition than
he can come. We're honestly not scared of anything. I mean, if you look at this audit report, right, where it says that 77 million, it actually doesn't say that the 77 million is not is unaccounted for. It actually says something different, and it's an accumulated loss. But what we must, of course, understand is that that is the most recent audit report, for example, of Keetmanshoop municipality. It's the most recent audit report.
Yeah, we're going to break, William, and then we'll tackle the subject.
All right.
When we return. We continue our conversation with William Minnie, who is the Deputy National Spokesperson of the Landless People's Movement. You couldn't wait to delve into the subject of the audit reports. What's the issue there?
Look, colleagues, I don't actually think there's any
Because
issue.
you guys even called the newspapers corporate media. Why are you calling us that?
You
What did we
know,
do to you?
the problem with you guys is I don't know where you guys went left and south. I don't understand where the sensationalism is coming from. In fact, you guys are making journalism, you are degrading journalism to sensationalism. And I don't think any citizen in this country must ever appreciate such a thing because it's nonsense.
That's nonsense.
It's the most utter nonsense. Look, guys, that 77 million, it does not say that it's unaccounted for. What it says is that it's an accumulated loss. And one must understand what an accumulated loss is. But before we even get there, we must question from which financial years is this particular audit report. And I shared it with you for a reason so that you also read through it.
Yeah, that's true. The Namibian says Keetmans has recorded losses exceeding 77 million over 3 years. You didn't say over past 3 years, said over 3 years. And then it went on to say that the opinion, this audit opinion, covered the 3 financial years ending 2021.
Now,
it
now
means,
Doris, let me come in.
yeah.
Let me come in. Allow me to come in.
So one of those 3 years is actually yours.
No, my brother. Let me come in. Let me come in properly. The problem is that you're a journalist and you're of course, you would read the article.
Yeah.
But what you don't understand is that you know what clickbait is, right? I mean, you're a learned colleague. Clickbait.
Yeah.
And if I check on my phone here, I remember very well what the clickbait said, and that's where the problem comes in. Because then people use that clickbait as the basis for their argument. Because the clickbait says, Keetmans' books bleed over 77 million in 3 years.
Yes, that is true.
And it must stipulate which 3 years.
Yeah, in the text itself.
Oh, now the problem is that the general public would not go towards reading
You want
the article.
You want the entire story to be in the
Oh
headline.
no, you guys must write properly, yeah?
We are writing
Or
properly.
else
like
you
that.
guys are busy with sensationalism, and it's extremely problematic. I don't know
It
where
says-
I don't know
says-
where you guys got this from.
It says it happened over 3 years, and that is true. There's nothing.
Now, which 3 years?
You must read further.
Which 3 years?
No.
Because according to my understanding, local authority and regional council elections took place in November 2020. Our councillors were only sworn in, if I'm correct, February 2021. So
Yeah.
this money, because if I
it's
read,
not- it's
if
not
you
that far, but-
if you check paragraph 2.2, and you look at the going concern, and you actually read that where that accumulated loss comes from, the time period is my major concern. That time LPM was not governing that particular municipality.
No, 2021, you guys were in power.
Oh,
So SWAPO could, or whoever was in power prior to that, can take the first 2 years. The other year is yours.
how is the other year ours? It's not.
It
The
says-
financial year ended, I believe, June 2021.
No. If that is what it says, because financially, if you say the 2021 financial year, it could also mean that it's the 2021, 2022 year.
No.
Or maybe it's 2020, 2021.
It's 2020, 2021.
Yeah, but either way. So let's assume you are correct. In that sense, of course.
No, we must not assume that I'm correct because I am.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you are correct. I'm just saying that because I can tell you now. I just read for you the passage. The thing that I found wrong is the one of the Namibian of MBC. MBC said in the past 3 years. That is wrong because it implies that it's 2022 to now or whatever, 2021 to now. That would be wrong. But the Namibian here, and they can speak for themselves. I'm just saying that I read these articles in light of your pronouncements this morning. And the Namibian clearly says the opinion covered the 3 financial years ending 2021. So this couldn't be wrong. It's an unfair attack.
No. It's definitely not.
Maybe
I disagree with you.
Maybe pinpoint.
I disagree with you completely.
Why?
I disagree with you completely, because you cannot in any way sensationalize an issue like this, and we all understand where exactly it comes from, Toys, and no one should be oblivious to it, because we've been seeing for the past week or two that there have been reports in terms of the Namco case. You even saw this morning there's this other lady who also ate money apparently. So it's to keep on a track of headlines, to make it seem as though there are certain things being uncovered in certain institutions in relation to money laundering and to put it clearly, looting. So now to try and make it seem with that particular clickbait that there's lootism going on in the Keetmanshoop municipality, it is false. Because what we must remember is that when we entered council, the municipal council in Keetmanshoop, the books were bleeding. That is the blatant truth. The books were bleeding. And unfortunately...
The bleeding has stopped?
Unfortunately, Joyce, no, the bleeding has not stopped, because we're still trying to fix the mess. We're still trying to fix the mess, and we've been continuing with fixing the mess, Joyce. And that is the truth. You know, we found such a terrible situation where, of course, residents owed so much money, their water bills extremely high, to the point where our councillors had to say, okay, guys, you know what? In the best interest of the community, we are going to write off historic water debt. Let's start afresh, guys. Let's start afresh, and then we see how we can go about it. But of course, you know that there are certain challenges, and we've been trying to bridge the gap, Toys. If you look at it, I dare you to go down into Keetmanshoop and you go speak with the community members of Keetmanshoop. Our councillors are really trying. I believe last year, June, the 3rd of June, the management committee chairperson of the Keetmanshoop municipality signed there's a loan agreement with the Keetmanshoop municipality and the development bank, where they had to get a loan of about, I think, 3 million or something, I stand to be corrected, for the electrification process of informal settlements in and around the town of Keetmanshoop. That is how hard we are trying to bring basic services back to the residents of Keetmanshoop, something that SOPO councillors were failing to do for about 30 years.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So I'm not disputing. I think you've clarified, and that is why I actually called you here, because if you feel that the head is a party, if you feel that the headlines, because I also know it's 2025, November is knocking on the door, and do you want to go into that election with your conscience clear? But again, like I admitted, I said I read 2 reports in that regard. MBC says in the past 3 years. That is wrong.
It is extremely wrong.
I admit. The Namibian says for the year ending 2021. I don't think that is wrong. But I disagree with you.
Is that what the clickbait said? The headline that goes around?
No, the headline is I need to
because the headline says something different.
No, I must educate you also about headlines, about journalism. We can't bundle everything in the headline.
Is that why you guys have chosen sensationalism? I think it is quite poor journalism.
It's not sensationalism. The truth.
I think it's quite poor journalism from you guys' side.
No, it says so much money, so much losses were recorded over 3 years, and that is correct. You just need then to say which years were these.
Exactly.
And that is the responsibility of every reader.
Specify. Because we know that those who are reading on social media, those who you know, it's not all individuals, and we must be privy to this. Not all individuals are going to go into the actual article. So if you put a headline and structure it like that, it causes a problem on the ground, because then it becomes misleading.
When LPM won the South, we just said a clean slate for LPM in the South. We didn't put numbers of how many, because not everything can fit in that headline. But everybody knows now, okay, LPM won the South. How did they win? Let me now go into the details.
Okay, now you guys must start specifying in your headlines who ate the money.
Who ate the money?
You guys must tell the people where did the money go. At least you must say, don't say the books are bleeding. Say there was an accumulated loss of 77-point-something million.
Yeah, because you make it sound like loss is just a casual thing. We might just
you must specify, because if you go down and you actually read people's comments,
deployed in these institutions to avoid this kind of situation.
If you read people's opinions and the perception that it created, it is an extremely wrong impression that is created to make it seem as if this particular institution is where money is being looted, whether it is by political officials or by administrative officials. Because as it currently stands, that audit report does not report on in any way or form that money was being eaten.
No, I understand that.
Yes.
Are you defending your predecessors because you seem to think that no money was eaten?
No money was eaten by us.
No money was eaten.
No money was eaten by us. I can say with confidence, you were saying, you were asking me, are we scared that Sangwasa is coming to the south? In fact, we want him to come to the south so that you can come and you can come find clean books. Because I don't think, since he is a SWAPO minister, of course, that he's used to finding clean books. It's not every day that you would walk into a council, of course, being led by the SWAPO party, that you will find clean books. It is quite unusual to find clean books. So once he comes to LPM-led councils, we will lay it bare for him.
The jury is still out. We don't know how. It's unfortunate that these things take long to come out. It would have been nice for all local authorities in the country.
It would be
to have their books out ahead of this November election, so that we know
so that the public
who
is
to
aware.
Retain and who not to retain in office. But it might come that maybe next year, because if people are talking about 2021 and the report is only coming out now, on average it means that 3 years into this new term that is starting in November is when we are going to know how LPM actually performed in Keetmanshoop. But aside from those two issues, William, what are the prospects of your party in this election? Because in the November election, I know it's different elections, but in the past election, you were actually battered. You have lost again.
Lost to what?
The South that you...
What did we lose?
No, because...
According to my understanding, about 5 years ago...
SWAPO regained the South in that election.
Excuse me?
I swear.
Oh no, colleagues.
Let's
be honest with each other.
Look at the numbers.
Trevor, let's be honest with each other. Let's be honest with each other.
You haven't looked at the numbers.
We have seen the numbers. In fact, we are quite happy because what you must understand is that there are, I think, two winners. I can say that there were two winners in the November 2024 elections. It was LPM and AR.
No,
because according to our understanding, we are the only two parties that gained.
Yeah, I get that.
Yes.
But you can't just look at that. You can't just confine things at gaining. Your party is currently ruling the South.
The South, yes.
And in November, SWAPO got more votes in the South than LPM. That's the point I'm making. That's why I'm saying that what do we expect in November?
Well, we are quite excited for
the
November,
trajectory,
to be honest.
or we are going to see something
We
different?
are so excited for November. We've been on the ground this past weekend. We're in Marintal also every single weekend. Yeah. We are on the ground. We are engaging with people. We are engaging community members. And trust and believe that this is going to be a very, very, very exciting local authority and regional council election. Because we see that SWAPO is trying very hard. They even appointed someone from the South into certain positions. We love it. For us, it is extremely exciting because we engage with the people on the ground.
Yeah.
And because local authority and regional councils are the first point of defense for residents in their particular communities and towns, it gives us so much energy. Because we are there, we are engaging, and we understand, and the people on the ground know what we're doing. Because they can easily come to us and say, you know what, you guys failed here.
Yeah.
You guys won here. You guys brought something here. You guys delivered on this thing, but you guys did not deliver on this. So in the next tenure that you guys get, address this issue. But so far, in the past 5 years of LPM governing local authorities in the South as well as the regional councils, trust and believe that we have delivered, and the record does reflect.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, William. It's always a pleasure talking to you. We appreciate your time, but we'll call you back again
Oh, please do. Please
Prior
do.
to the
I believe
elections.
I'm a man of my word. Please do, because these are going to be very interesting elections. We are ready. Our electoral processes are going to start very soon. And you guys will see the candidates. You guys will, of course, see their credentials as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very exciting. We are ready to give SWAPO a run for their money.
Yeah, very good. If the residents of those areas feel that LPM is the party to go for, all the best, but we'll closely monitor the
reconvene.
situation. Yeah, that is William Minnie. He is the Deputy National Spokesperson of the Landless People's Movement, filling us in on some of the pronouncements that the party made this morning. Thank you for watching.